So here we are on this 2002 RAV4 again. If you didn't see it yet, we already replaced the engine because the engine was locked up. So we did an engine transplant out of a different RAV4, but now the transmission is having issues. So after I put the engine in, I test drove it. I did get the solenoid code, but I thought, well, let me take it for a drive and see what's going on. And it doesn't seem to do low gears well. Once it gets into high gears, it doesn't want to downshift. And then even when you come to a stop, it doesn't want to downshift and you're starting out in the high gear. And there's a little bit of a stutter. Maybe that's due to the high gears. I don't know, but there is a certain percentage of chance that the problem is the solenoid itself, but there's also a percentage of chance that it's not. We won't know till we dig into it, so let's see what we find when we take the pan off. Let's go down under this thing. So this skid plate has to come off. It's just plastic, that's fine. But then after that, it's real easy to get to the transmission pan, and this does have a drain bolt, so we'll drain the fluid and then we'll pull all the bolts around off the pan, and then we'll look inside the pan and see what chaos and calamity awaits. Okay, this, I don't know, it's kind of suspiciously clean. It's got just a little bit of metallic stuff in it. The magnets are, I mean, a little bit of clutch material. A little more up there. Fluid is practically brand new. The pan is way too clean. I don't know, I'm suspicious, but I'm naturally suspicious, so you can see there's a little bit of metallic in there. I don't know about that. You know, before you sell a car, flush the transmission so it looks good. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but all right, I'll set that aside and clean that later. Let's see what we got up in the transmission. All right, so suspiciously clean in the filter too. So we got our solenoids here. That's, I don't know, that's almost way too clean, honestly. I don't know, maybe we got lucky. Maybe it is a clean transmission, but it's not what my gut tells me. I'm gonna take this filter off and look inside of it, and then I'll figure out which is the B solenoid. So this filter looks, again, way too good. I feel like this filter is brand new. There's a little bit of grit up in there. Not much. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like someone maybe recently serviced this, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. They could have been trying to fix a code, or they could have been trying to cover up a problem, or maybe it was just a normal service, but I don't know. Let's take a look at the solenoids. So I'm just doing a quick and dirty test of these solenoids because you can't pull most of them out without pulling the valve body. You can slide them out a little bit, but then they hit the case. You got to actually pull the valve body out. So the quick and dirty way is run a positive 12-volt line. And if you have a 2-pin solenoid, connect one to ground, and then take your positive and hear that click. That's the solenoid working. If you have a single pin like this, it's easy, just connect positive to this, it's grounded through the case. So these all have tested good except for the last one. I gotta test that one yet. As I feared, all the solenoids Test good. It was not a solenoid problem. A lot of the time people will mistakenly believe that if the computer says 100% that there's a solenoid code, that it is a solenoid problem, and that's not the case. The computer has to determine a lot of different inputs, and it doesn't have many from one of these older electronic transmissions. So it has to interpret them as it sees fit, and it's just interpreting that as a lack of shifting or something, and that translates to, oh, it thinks the solenoid is bad or something like that, when in reality the lack of shifting could be for other reasons, like clutches, or could be a PCM problem. These cars are known for PCM problems. I have a spare one there. I could swap it and see, but I don't know. I don't think they have a body control module, so I might just be able to swap the PCM without the VIN being problem. I don't know if it has a security system. If it does, that might be an issue. I don't think you can swap computers without reflashing the VIN, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So I am measuring the resistance on each solenoid, and with the 2 pins that's easy. Just measure across the pin, and with the single pins, you just measure across the ground, because they ground on the case. Wait for it to stabilize. So that's 13.2 ohms. Okay. So make sure to write them all down for reference later. So for testing purposes, I am replacing the ECU with another one. Basically, you just pull the glove box down, pull the 2 tabs out so you can get it down all the way, take out the 2 glove box screws, take out these 2 screws up here that hold this in that blocks your ECU, unplug all the cords, and then there's a screw bolt nut. There's a nut back here, and there's a nut down there. You got to pull off this panel. So let's pull that out. Just comes out like this. Tweak it a little bit. Take the other one. Plug all these in temporarily. I don't know if this is going to work because, you know, you can't just ordinarily mix and match ECUs, but let's see what it does to the code here. Okay, it's just temporarily plugged in there. Let's see what that does. Probably nothing. Here's our scanner. Clear all the codes in the old computer. Yeah, we still get that electrical code, so it is not the computer. Okay, we've eliminated that. All right, let's see. What else have I checked? I checked the wire continuity, resistance, and everything between the harness down there and the ECU for that particular solenoid circuit. And I get like 0.4 ohms down the wire on each wire. And no shorts to ground or anything. The pins look good. I checked all the pins, everything else on both ends. There's not a whole lot else electrical that I can check. So I'm going to go back and look a little bit at this error. I actually can't find PO758 in the service manual. They jump right to 6.8. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm going to go back again and maybe I missed something. Go back over my research. Well, the customer has opted to try to reprogram the PCM to whatever the updated specs are. I have no idea if this is going to work. So I've got one PCM and no brackets. And I sent them both out with the brackets on them. Well, I didn't send them out. The customer sent them out. I gave them to the customer with the brackets on them. So I have no brackets for this. I mean, I guess I can install it temporarily just to see if I don't get any codes. So I guess let's plug this in. Can't install it properly, but we can plug it in and see what happens. All right, well, let's plug this in at least. Kind of, sort of. I'll just sort of stick it back there, I guess. All right. Just kind of hanging there because I don't have any brackets. Everything is plugged in. All right, let me get my scanner here and let's see where we're at. So, interestingly, there's a little pocket down here I didn't know about, and I reached down here and lo and behold, there's a paper. So I opened the paper. So we've got an invoice here for 250 some odd dollars. Let's see what page 2 holds. Transmission fluid exchange with synthetic conditioners, standard fees, 10 quarts, synthetic ATF. That probably means they flushed the whole thing. Ugh, transmission flushes are a bad idea. And then they did a multi-point inspection. 4/13/23. That's a year ago. 204,182 miles. What miles were we at now? We're at 204,919. So they went for 800 miles. Okay. Let's link our scanner. No powertrain DTCs. Really? Can it be? Maybe it was the PCM. That would be a miracle. Huh. Okay. Well, I can't start the engine and verify any of this because I have to put transmission fluid back in it and put the pan bolts and the gasket and everything back in, so I guess that's the next step. We'll get that stuff and put all that back in and then see if we can get it to operate normally. Well, I got 5 quarts in her. She's gonna need more, but let's start it up and get the fluid moving and at least back her down and get her level off the stands, and then we'll complete the fill process. Okay, we've got her filled up to the cold level in the dipstick. We'll let her warm up, get up to operating temperature, but meanwhile, let's go look at the codes. Or hopefully lack thereof. Alright, let's see what we have here. Cylinder misfire. Still got that pending code. Getting a cylinder misfire now all of a sudden. They ran great before, we didn't have that. This takes forever to link. I don't understand it. Come on. Cylinder 2. PO302 cylinder 2. Okay, well we can take a look at that, but I'm not getting anything else. Put it in gear here. Oh, I feel like we have first gear again, so that's good. Brakes are squeaky because I've been sitting so long. Okay. Well, we'll take a look at some things, get her up to operating temperature. She's slowly climbing up, and we'll look at that misfire code. All right, well, since I've got, you know, basically a double set of everything, I'm going to put the coil pack from the other car on the number 2 cylinder. I wouldn't ordinarily swap parts randomly without a troubleshooting procedure, but in this case, since I have them, and they're so easy to get to. Very little time involved. So we'll just do that. Oh, the code didn't come back when I started it up. But let's see what happens when I play around with it a little bit. If anybody can get a code to appear on a car, it's probably me. Run it through some gears here. Huh. Well, I'm not getting a check engine light. Maybe that coil is bad, or was bad till I replaced it. Okay. Why is it surging like that? Okay, now we got a check engine code again. Okay, so I have two of the same codes, which is a little odd. I have a PO302 cylinder 2 and then a PO302 cylinder 2, which I can see getting those on different cylinders, but I'm getting two on the same cylinder, which is weird. Okay, so I replaced the number 2 spark plug. Now, probably can't see it, but just take my word for it, there's no check engine light. Let's auto link again to make sure, but it might not have been the coil pack, it might have been the spark plug, or a combination of the two. Alright, let's do this again for the 23.687 times. Alright, here we go. Make sure to back into the mud there and get her stuck so tight that you can't do anything but yank her out with the tractor. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, pretty good. Okay, we're in first gear. Let's watch the tach. Second. Third. And there's overdrive. And there's overdrive lockup. Well, that fixed it. Well, who would have thunk it? Actually, the alignment isn't half bad, you know. Not bad. I guess we'll just clean this car up for the customer inside and out, and we'll put those brackets back on the computer that I forgot about yet again. And everything else appears to be kosher. I will run it through a little bit of driving here, get everything up to snuff, make sure everything else is okay on it. The AC cycle's on, but it's not cold, so I think it just needs a charge. Brakes feel pretty good. Let's slow down here. I want to at least run her through the gears a couple times. Boy, usually it's not that easy. A computer problem is usually not at all something that is just easily resolved like that. Well, now it's a nice driving little vehicle with 200,000 miles on it, but not too bad. Got another one back on the road, and that's what's important. Save the older cars from the junkyard, because it costs a lot of time and money to make new cars, and that's bad for the environment too. So keep the old cars running for a multitude of reasons. It is one of my philosophies. Glad I could help out with this one. Does the radio work? Yeah, radio works. It's reset because of the battery, but Alright. I won't drive just too much because I don't think I have a valid registration or insurance on this thing. Just randomly driving around. That's fine. It's back roads. Okay, guys, I've done a lot worse. I like that I could finally complete this for the customer, even though I didn't reprogram the computer, but I'm glad we could resolve it without taking it to a transmission shop or anything. That's the important thing. It seems to be shifting really good now. Goes through all the gears and torque converter lockup, so yeah, it's nice. Well, it's fixed. I guess it was just reprogramming the computer. That never works. I guess we got lucky with this one. Sometimes shops or people say, yeah, it's a computer, it just needs the computer reprogrammed. Well, in this case, that was actually true. So, well, hopefully this video may help someone out. If you have the same code in this transmission or this car, they use this transmission in several different vehicles, but if you have this code and you want to resolve it and troubleshoot it and you don't see it in the manual, well, here's a good way to run through from the easy, least expensive to the hard, most expensive, all the way up to the top. So I guess this was a good run through on troubleshooting anyway. So, well, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you watching. As always, appreciate likes, subscribes, any comments you got, leave them down there below. I always try to read all the comments and answer anybody who has questions. And as always, thanks for watching.